In 1941, when Hollywood was dominated by lush, romantic scores from composers like Mark Steiner and Eric Korngold, a new kind of sound appeared: bold, modern, and experimental. That sound came from Bernard Herrmann in Orson Welles' film Citizen Kane. Herrmann's score broke away from the grand emotional style of his time. He used sharp, modern textures and rhythms, inspired by 20th century composers like Stravinsky, Bartók, and Schoenberg. In many ways, he was 10 years ahead of his pace, shaping the future of American film music. By the early 1950s, a new generation of American-born composers was entering Hollywood. Many were classically trained, with a deep knowledge of harmony and counterpoint, but they also understood jazz, the heartbeat of American music. Jazz began to color the sound of Hollywood, especially in film noir and urban dramas. At the time, jazz was still linked with danger and decadence, a perfect match for those gritty stories. Meanwhile, the earlier masters, Steiner, Korngold, Newman, remained rooted in 19th century romanticism. They created unforgettable music, but were less interested in modern sounds. When asked about new music, Mark Steiner once said, "I can't criticize what I don't understand." One composer who bridged the gap between concert hall and cinema was Aaron Copland. By the time he scored his first film in 1949, Copland was already a celebrated composer. He brought a new clarity and openness to film scoring, smaller ensembles, lighter textures, and modern harmonies. Even though he didn't score many films, his influence was enormous. In the 1950s and early 60s, modernism took root in Hollywood. Composers like Leonard Rosenman, Leonard Bernstein, and Alex North used unusual rhythms, dissonant harmonies, and inventive orchestrations. But no one captured modernism on film quite like Bernard Herrmann in his legendary collaborations with Alfred Hitchcock. Herrmann experimented fearlessly. Psycho used only strings. Vertigo featured polytonality, two tonal chords layered together. And of course, those screeching violins in the shower scene. Pure, unforgettable terror. Later on, Hitchcock and the film studio Universal wanted a more contemporary, commercial pop sound for their next movie Tom Curtain. But Herrmann refused to change his artistic direction. After a heated argument, Hitchcock fired Herrmann, ending an incredibly successful 8-film collaborative partnership. John Addison was hired to write the replacement score. Herrmann's rejected score for Tom Curtain has since become a famous piece of Hollywood history. It was eventually recorded and released on its own, highly regarded by film music historians as a masterpiece of orchestration. By the 1960s, another big shift arrived. Popular music entered the movies. In the early 50s, songs were written specifically for films. But in the 60s, pop songs became part of the storytelling itself. A perfect example is Henry Mancini's Moon River from Breakfast at Tiffany's. Performed by Audrey Hepburn, the song became an instant classic, winning both an Oscar and a Grammy, and staying on the charts for almost 2 years.
You heartbreaker, wherever you're going, I'm going your way.
But the film industry itself was changing fast. Between the 1950s and 1970s, the old studio system began to collapse. Television was taking audiences away, and a new antitrust law forced studios to sell their theatre chains. Without guaranteed profits, they could no longer afford big, permanent staffs, including orchestras and composers. Producers became independent, hiring freelance composers as needed. And as studios turned to TV, movies and series, film music had to adapt, becoming more flexible, more experimental, and sometimes more intimate. The mid-century brought huge changes, musically and culturally. That set the stage for everything that followed, from the rise of pop and rock in the movies to the birth of the modern blockbuster sound. We'll explore that in the next episode. If you enjoyed this, please like, subscribe and share. It really helps me keep this project going. See you next time!